What you doing?
What you mean, what am I doing? I'm listening to my favorite podcast.
What that is?
SCTT TV. So consciousness. Hello and welcome to SCTT TV Podcast. I am here today with our co-producer and MC Fat Get Dad from the Judgement Nite Festival and White Out Play. So this is a special segment of SCTT TV Podcast. We're just going to debrief and talk about, the experience that we had, things that we have looking forward to, how we feel about the characters that were portrayed, and, just catching you all up on what you missed out on. You didn't come. Last Friday on the 31st, Halloween. Yeah. But we called it Judgment Nite.
The Judgement Nite Festival, a gathering of voices, visions, and vibrations, where art becomes activism and dialogue becomes liberation.
So, how you feeling? We've completed a huge task, didn't we? We did it, it ended. We're excited about it. How do you feel about it, Karima?
I'm more relaxed now. I am. I was so amped and anxious and had butterflies, and I had to do Fat Getty justice, so.
Don't be afraid. No. When Mama get to call your name, you answer with your chest. Cause when the drums hit, there's no turning back. Let the night begin!
Or Fat Getty did her justice.
Might have. I think I let the ancestors do what they would do and let the spirits have their way. And it was an awesome experience, I will tell you.
And we think that although the day started out really nice, there wasn't much, cloudiness. We didn't have any rain. It was a good temperature, but then, right as soon as we began and the sun started to set, it got really cold. It was like 40 degrees out there. And we were expecting less of a crowd because of the cold, but they actually came out when it got colder. Yeah. So I just want to give kudos to the community for coming out and supporting this event. Our vendors that came out and sat in the cold back there, feeding everybody with delicious foods. Leah Shayo and Sister Priscilla with denim on denim. My son got a really nice jacket.
I saw a couple. I'm going to be calling her up.
So she was all set up back there, and then all of our cast and our crew did a phenomenal job pulling everything together.
It was an awesome experience. If you missed it, I don't know what to tell you. Like, you just have to watch the little snippets and skits, maybe see it on video, but it's not the same on video as if you were there.
A woman known only as Subject 1081 has been chosen to undergo the final purification, a secretive psychological operation designed to permanently sever her connection to her ethnic ancestry, maternal wisdom, emotional sensitivity, and historical memory. What begins as an orderly indoctrination spirals into an emotional breakdown, revealing that whiteness itself is a weaponized identity, a mask sewn over generations of cultural amnesia, shame, and privilege. As the experiment progresses, she begins hearing disembodied voices of her ancestors, of colonized peoples, of revolutionaries, of black rage and black grace, each challenging the story she's been forced to internalize. Through madness, memories, and metaphors, she must decide, will she remain white? Or will she remember who she was before the whiteout?
It was such an experience. I can't imagine, I could not have imagined how the night would have turned out. In my head, I just wanted people to understand what we were doing, what we were talking about with Whiteout, the concept, because even just putting up the title, Whiteout, the Dismantling of White Supremacy, just putting the title up on certain social media forums like Nextdoor and places like that got flagged just because of what the title said. And it was really hard to explain and make my case about it. It's not antagonistic. It's not meant to make people angry unless they're angry at what happened, what a system did to them. That anger is not internal anger, but an anger about a system that continues to strip away our culture, strip away our humanity. Even just today is election day.
Yes.
A lot of people are feeling pressure because of all of the turmoil, all things that are happening with the government shutdown and all this stuff. So it even seemed that night on the 31st when we were preparing for the first of the month. Very relevant. A topic very relevant to the political climate.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And I really feel like Mandy did the part justice. It felt like it was her.
Yes, she did.
And I feel like she did a great job of putting herself into it. So there was a part of Whiteout where she's naming her ancestors, where you would have been able to see pictures of her family members. And because of, technical difficulties or whatnot, we weren't able to show that part. And I feel like it was like a really big piece that kind of needed to be seen by the audience, because it was a beautiful thing. Every time when I was making that video and I looked at people I didn't even know, I don't know these people, never met them before. But every time I would look at those pictures, I would feel like a connection with the song and everything that was connected. Because regardless of how we feel about the people in our family, because believe me, there are some people in my family that, need Jesus. I should just say that they need
just prayer.
Okay? And it doesn't make me love them less, but it does make me feel that I need to separate myself from that, because sometimes it's a lot of drama and a lot of relived trauma that gets brought up. And I just, I can understand how a person can feel like, I love you from a distance type of situation. But it's still, you love your family. You want the people in your life to get better. And I think that's the way I view this country. Like, I was birthed here. I love this country. I love what my people did to build this country. I want it to get better, meaning better than it's ever been. Because from the experience of my people, since the government that's in place right now exists, it's never really been good for my people. But we've had really great moments, and we've celebrated a lot of strides that we've made So I don't want it to be considered in vain, all of that work that our people put into it. Even, with today, people are saying, I know you don't know what you're voting for, but just go out there and vote because it's your right.
It's your right.
And what I really want people to say is, hey, let me sit down and educate you on what this election is about, what you're choosing. Not just telling you, hey, you have the right, people died for you, go out there and do it. If you don't even know what you're voting for. You don't know who these people are. You don't know what their platform is. And then if something go wrong, all y'all people that voted for such and such, this is all your fault.
Yes.
And you didn't know what their platform was. You didn't know what community it came from. You don't know who in their campaign, who they were representing, who their demographic is. You don't know. Yeah. And those people that do know, they are very educated voters.
Right. Yeah.
And they deserve the opportunity to use their right to vote. And I feel like it is also their responsibility to teach people who don't know.
Yeah, because it's scary especially for our youth, who we want to understand why we are voting and who they're voting for. My daughter last year, she had a panic attack because she was about to vote for the very first time, and she gave them back the ballot and said she can't do it. And I asked her this year, I said, well, are you going to vote? And she said, nope. I didn't like the experience. I don't know who I'm voting for. And us as a community and us as a unit, we need to make sure that our youth, because at the end of the day, we are becoming the elders and we have our youth. So we have to be the ones that educate them. And, that's one of the big things that has been pushed in our communities. Who are we voting for? What are they going to do for the community, not just for themselves? Are they about money? Are they about the actual community itself? And what communities are they about? Because you have to think about it. You do have the higher class African Americans, and then you do have those middle class, the underclass, the ones that get SNAP benefits, the ones that do have Medicaid. And at the end of the day, are they striving for their community, or are they striving for the ones that really need that momentum and that assistance and that help?
Exactly.
And with Judgment Nite, that was the premise and the beginning of how we should build on our communities and our youth, and how we should elevate ourselves and hold our heads high, because our ancestors did do a lot for us.
And the accountability factor.
Yeah.
Like, how can you expect someone to be accountable to something they're ignorant of?
That part, yeah.
I can't hold you accountable if you don't even know what you're being held accountable for.
That's ignorance. Yes.
And so when we're talking about the dismantling of white supremacy, people are like, what does it have to do with politics? Everything. It has everything to do with politics. I mean, the fact that there has been a stigma that the SNAP benefits are mostly used by Black welfare queens.
And I've heard, and I don't know if this is hearsay, but 60% of white America, Caucasians, are getting SNAP benefits. 60%.
Do you see how detrimental it is? When you believe in a lie about what race is crippling your system, you end up suffering from that same ignorance through this shutdown. This government shutdown is not just hurting Black people. It is hurting elderly people. It is hurting people on disability for whatever reasons, handicapped individuals. It's hurting the schools. It's hurting the children. Who comes in and does your plumbing?
Yes.
Are those wealthy people? Who comes in and picks up your trash? Are those wealthy people? Who comes in and does the servicing for your schools, your teachers, your janitors, your food service workers, your maintenance people? These are the people that you're talking about that are crippling your society. The people you need, the people that are putting those services in. And if we don't have like this mutual respect for each other, and we're looking at your color,
right,
like before you even know what this person has done and is capable of doing, or what position that they're in society, you're judging them just because of what their skin looks like. It's a detriment to you.
Yes.
So what do you
Integrity has
feel?
no color.
That's exactly right. What do you feel guided Fat Getty? Like, what do you feel that on that night guided Fat Getty to like, you know, spruce up or heat up the moment? What was guiding that?
Well, learning about Fat Getty and learning what he does, and you know, portraying this ancestor, because he is an ancestor, he is a spirit. It brought back to life where we stand now in America, and how everybody looks upon America as this place where outsiders want to be, but the reality is that the ones that are in America, that know of America, that have been conformed to America, don't want to be here. Like, they want a way of being able to get out. America, you're here. And the best way of fixing something that you don't like is change. And change is very hard for a lot of individuals and a lot of people, but you have to realize, again, one of the verses that I remember what I was saying was that the fear is nothing but your ancestors reminding you that you are alive. The fear of what's going to happen tomorrow. What's going to happen 5 years from now, or what's going to happen to our youth, what's going to happen to our elderly. And you have to go back to, what did our ancestors do? There wasn't a lot of help for our ancestors. They had it worse off than us. The slavery and the racism was in your face. It may not be as in your face today, but it's still prevalent. And if you are willing to change, if you are willing to understand, like, the Lord is with us. Your ancestors are guiding you throughout your day. You do have something to look back upon that is glorifiable. Then your life in America is worth something. Because we did have our ancestors come here and they did build a lot of this stuff. They may not have got credit for it, but as long as we are learning our history, and that is everyone's history, and it doesn't have a color on it or a demographic on it, everybody's learning their history, then it will make this a better place.
And it makes sense why a lot of the education is under attack. First of all, before DEI and taking away of like certain forms of history, like calling it Black history, and now just making it a general topic of just history. Before all of that became under dialogue in the last 2 or 3 years, we have noticed back in the 50s, when all the Black people were fighting for integration. The reason why Black people wanted to integrate was not because they wanted to sit next to white people per se. It was because in their schools they didn't have up-to-date books. Right. And in their schools they didn't have windows. Right. You know, in their schools they didn't have the supplies and resources that the other schools had. Right. And they felt like if these are government funded institutions, they should look the same. Yes. You know? So the thought was, if you're not going to give us the resources so that we can educate our children, then we're just going to send our children to your schools.
That's it.
That's when the education system started to get worse. Yeah. Because before that, the children were at least learning about their communities. They learned that if they lived in a rural area, the majority of the people that they love are farmers. So at the same time as learning arithmetic and learning how to read and write, they're also learning how to cultivate, like how important, how to apply those things that they're learning to their everyday tasks of being a farmer.
Yeah.
And then maybe even going looking beyond that and considering being a teacher or a doctor or anything else. And then when they got integrated into the schools, they were told those professions are not for you.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry, I know you want to be a doctor, but maybe you can, work on the railroad or something.
Mm-hmm.
Then you started getting those kind of segregated ideas while you're sitting in the same classroom as other white students. So education's always been an issue. This is not a new issue that we're dealing with. Yeah. It's a new face, like you talked about racism. It existed in a different way. It was not bolder, but it's still in place. Yeah. And so when people say there isn't any anymore, you have to question whether or not you're living in reality.
That part, yeah.
Are you really living in reality? And if you're in denial about it, let me sit down and tell you. Let me sit down and talk to you and explain to you what this racism looks like. And now, after you have acknowledged it, let's dismantle it. Yeah. Let's take it apart. The dialogue at the end was supposed to be that, the beginning of a conversation on our responsibilities as a community of dismantling it. Mm-hmm. Everybody has a different job. And I cannot be expected to teach white people about what racism is. Yeah. I shouldn't be responsible, but other white people should be responsible for teaching other white people about what racism is and how to heal. There's a lady named Jane Elliott. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but she's got a book called Blue and Brown Eyes. She does this experiment where in predominantly white schools, she teaches about what it feels like to be discriminated against based off of eye color. So in the classrooms, they'll set it up and they'll, tell the blue-eyed children that they are superior to all the other colored eye colors in the room. And it's crazy. These are usually third graders. But it's interesting what happens with them knowing that this is just an experiment, just a game, how involved and readily they believe these things just after this short experiment takes place. So if that can happen in the classroom with a small amount of time, could you imagine if this is indoctrinated from the day you're born all the way up until the day you pass on in your everyday life, every day, how brainwashed you could become? That's crazy. That's crazy. I thought that Jane Elliott's experiment on the vast majority of people is kind of like what whiteout would look like. Yeah. Where you're putting a microscope to a system and a structure that needs to be destroyed. Yeah.
I'm backstage right now because today's studio audience thinks that they've come to a regular Oprah Winfrey show. But without knowing it, they've walked into this exercise. It's an exercise in racism. And my guest, Jane Elliott, started this exercise a long time ago with her third grade class back in 1968 after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King. What she's going to do is to demonstrate how easy it is to learn prejudice. The point being that we are taught to hate each other on the basis of the color of our skins.
Degraded. Right. I felt degraded.
You felt degraded?
Yes. Okay. I sure did.
Now, he was so angry, he took off his collar way on early.
Yeah, we need to talk about that, taking off the collar. These people can take off their collars, and then nobody knows what color their eyes are from a distance. How many of you people of color can take off the collar?
And you're taking away the humanity and seeing that person, a person that has been also a victim, right? A white person, who has been victimized by white supremacy, right? Yeah. Because at the end of the day, the target is for us to all be under the control of the wealthy, the elite. Yeah. So I believe that's the message, and I feel like it was communicated very well. Very well. And maybe in the near future, we might be able to do whiteout again. So thank you for listening to us. If you have any questions about the events and even have anything that you want to lend, any comments that you wanted to make about what you've heard us today, and if you're curious about next steps and how you can get involved, reach out to us at SCTT TV Podcast on Facebook, and we're also on YouTube under Soul Consciousness Theater Troupe. So this has been a special segment of SCTT TV Podcast. And what do we say? We want everybody to keep their soul conscious and their vision clear. Peace and love.